Maayong gabi. Welcome to the Cebu Lady Lawyers Association's Partners-in-Law. Magkuyog na pudta sa usa ka oras nga mahinungdanong diskurso sa balaod ug mga importanteng issues sa katilingban. Ako si Attorney Genevieve Cabradilla. Karong gabi, ubanan ta sa usa ka espesyal nga higala nato gikan sa Bureau of Immigration, Mactan Cebu International Airport. Siya usa ka immigration officer to sa maong opisina. Let's welcome here in Partners-in-Law atong mga higala atong mga televiewers, none other than Miss Katrina Jean Isobal.
Good evening, Attorney Jan, sa mga nagtanaw sa atong show karon ug sa akong mga kauban sa Bureau of Immigration. Maayong gabi atong tanan.
Maayong gabi, Miss Kat, and welcome to Partners-in-Law.
Thank you, Attorney.
We're so happy to have you here, and thank you so much nga bisan sa short notice imog yung gidawat ang among imbitasyon dinhi sa atong programa karong gabi una. Kumusta man, Miss Kat? I heard that you just came from the office, from the airport, fresh from the airport,
Yes.
Mactan, Cebu.
Nakatulog og gamay, Attorney.
Okay.
Yes, pero gikan gyud duty gabi And then, syempre, ganahan man sa gid ta maka-impart sa atong televiewers ninyo regarding sa unsam gyud ang Bureau of Immigration nga basic lang nga level, nga makasabot lang gyud ta nga.
That's
yes,
good. I think it's very important, Miss Kat, especially nga nibalik na ang atong pag-travel, no? Nabalik na sa normal, not exactly the same normal that we used to. We are used to, but at least the border restrictions have been lifted and countries are now open to tourists once again, especially our country, the Philippines.
Yeah, that's true, Attorney, no? Because kanang karon, hinahinay na gid ka busy sa airport. Because let's say before naagid tay flights in a pre-pandemic naatay flights nga siguro an average a day, around 30 plus flights in a day. Pag pandemic, that happened, siyempre ni gamay gyud and nighttime nga wala gyud, except sa flights nga murag sweeper flights lang or rescue flights nga mo cater sa Filipinos nga gusto gyud mo uli makuhaon gyud sa atong country bitaw. So karon nga ni open up na atong borders, siguro there are around 10 to 12 flights in a day. So layo-layo pa gyud siya compared sa pre-pandemic na time, pero the borders are opening up and it's better for everyone good.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Miss Kat. Although, no, as you've said, kanang dili pa siya exactly the same before, but not bad, right?
Yes,
it's a good news for everybody,
Yes.
and especially that here in the Philippines, tourism
Yes, yes.
plays a huge part in our economy, right? And of course, as hospitable as we are as
Yes.
Filipinos, which is normal to all of us, we love to welcome travelers here. And you mentioned, Ms. Kat, no, about rescuing Filipinos, exactly, right?
Yes.
During the pandemic para makauli taon diri sa Pilipinas. So you had that certain program in the
Actually, gihimo gina siya sa government, especially sa embassies nato abroad. Kay ang Filipinos dito gid sila mo contact, Attorney. So that's why the embassy arranges flights with the airlines kay para mausa sila as much as possible kay limited masagid ang flights. Kay the countries abroad are also kanang nag-strict sad sila. So kinahanglan mo coordinate gid sila with the Philippine embassy para mauli gid ang atong mga Filipinos.
That's a good news, and I think that's really a positive response and action of our government
Yes, exactly.
towards our fellow Filipinos in those certain countries.
Yes.
And I'm also curious to know, Ms. Kat, no, since during the pandemic, as you've said, there were no flights to the extent, no, nga wadji flights because of the lockdown
yes.
measures that we did to somehow fight COVID-19. Now, unsa man ang trabaho sa atong opisina atong mga panahon na, Miss Kat?
Actually, Attorney, mo report gud me kay whether na ay flight or wala, di makakahibaw nga basin for that day na ay emergency flight nga maabot. So we have to be there gyud. Mas better nga naa na ka kaysa pangitaon pa ka o nya na kinahanglan na gyud ka nga wala ka.
Were you also in work from home arrangement during those times?
No, kay airport man mi attorney. So ang among job is mo cater magit sa pasahero. So we can't do that kung nami sa balay. Yes. So siguro ang kung like district offices which kanang makabuhat gyud sila ana like sa ilang office work. So pwede nila daron sa balay.
Well, I think that would lead us to the topic about getting to know the functions of your office.
Yes.
Miss Kat, since you've mentioned already
Yes.
that part about working, no? Can you tell us what is the primary role or function of our Bureau of Immigration in general?
Bureau of Immigration attorney is under the Department of Justice. So kami gyud ang mo implement sa laws regarding citizenship, ang travel sa Filipinos and foreigners coming in and out of the country. Specifically when you talk about foreigners, kanang kung legitimate ba ilang pagsulod, ang how long they're staying here, if they are staying here with certain visas, like let's say spouse visa, or living here because they are legally employed here in ana. So na may differences unless they're tourists ra. So tanaw na to kung ni overstay ba, and then if ang iyang overstaying is updated ba, iyang stay in the Philippines. So kana gyud ang ato implement nga laws bitaw. Yes.
Very well said, Miss Kat, no? And that's quite a broad scope of work
Yes.
and function in your office. Can you also tell us, since naamantay mga somehow empleyado or staff, especially you as a Bureau of Immigration officer who is assigned in the airport, what do you do as a Bureau of Immigration officer?
Specifically, kami gyud assigned at the airport, so we are under the Port Operations Division nga naas gyud na base sa Manila. Yes. So kami ang murag Cebu assigned. Pero
Okay.
under me sa Manila gyud.
Oh.
Yes, so mo report mi sa port operations didto gyud. But we have kanang ang among mga supervisors nga naay nag-cater to administration, and then naay administrative work.
Okay.
And then naay sa operations as well.
Okay.
So making sure nga ang amuang staff is enough good to cater the incoming outgoing passengers. Yes, and then here at the airport manggod is amua is ang movement good sa people.
Okay.
So if Filipinos are leaving the Philippines na properly documented, and if tourism good, and depende kung sa purpose and ilahang purpose good sa ilang travel to the final destination. Whereas ang foreigners attorney kanang inigabot nila, so tanaw na to like what I said nga kung ang ilang purpose sad here is for work ba, for travel lang, inana lang yun.
So when do we determine, Miss Kat, the purpose of the travel? Is it, are there certain levels of inspection that we conduct to identify the purpose of the travel of a certain individual?
Siguro no kung kanang mga naka-travel na, yes, kanang inigsudi mo sa immigration, that's the primary inspection when you get there kanang counters, nga na immigration officer. That's what I do. So na ako diya sa counter gyud.
Okay.
Yes, so that's the primary inspection. So let's say departure.
Okay.
No? When you get there, dinha na mi ang primary inspection, dinha na mo i-assess kung unsa gid imong purpose of traveling abroad. Let's say you're Filipino. So unsa man gid imong purpose of leaving the country. But when you're a foreigner, let's say by foreigner we mean nga dili nagkupot og Philippine passport ha.
Okay.
So yes, that's the definition gyud kung foreign.
Okay.
Yes, foreign national. So kana upon departure, ang among ma-assess is igtanaw na mo sa passport if ang number of days nga ni stay siya diri sulod ba sa allowed niya, or if ni overstay siya kung nabayran ba niya ang proper fees, properly nga na-update ihang stay. Whereas ining arrival attorney lahi sad siya nga part.
Okay.
Kay mo check man ka kung unsa sad ang purpose sa foreigner nga mosulod. So kung unsa gid ang main purpose, whereas kung Filipino nga mo arrive, pasudlon man gid na nato kung Filipino kay Pilipinas man eh.
Okay.
Yes.
So automatically, upon we're checking in after ba na sa
After
check-in,
check-in,
after
yes.
check-in sa airline,
Yes.
moagi ta og Bureau of Immigration. So
Immigration.
we're talking about leaving the Philippine jurisdiction. Ha?
Yes, that's actually the final step kay immigration, and then boarding gate naman ka.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. No, sa katong mga wala pa
Yes.
nakasuway o larga, at least you will now have an idea. Especially if you are traveling internationally. Because
Yes.
kung domestic ra, you
Wala
don't
may,
need
yes.
to go through the
Immigration.
inspection of the Bureau of Immigration. Sa atong mga higala, no, sa atong mga televiewers, just to emphasize that the Bureau of Immigration the function of the Bureau of Immigration only comes in if you are a Filipino traveling internationally, not
yes.
domestic lang ha, sa mga wala pa nakasuway o larga.
Yes.
So now, we're talking about a certain Filipino at Miss Kat who intends to leave the Philippines. So pwede siya nga for travel lang to another country or for a longer stay like work visa ba iyang
Yes.
naa or unsa ba. So dito sa Bureau of Immigration kamo ang somehow first line kay primary inspection man ka.
Yes.
And what do you usually look for as a requirement before you can allow that certain Filipino to leave the
travel.
country? Yes.
Well, ang ato gyud attorney is dapat safe lang yung atong Pilipino. Kay kung di ba, it depends man good kung unsa iyang gi-declare. Yes, so ang iyang gi-declare tanaw nato sa dokumento nga mo match ba.
Okay.
Because when you travel, document-based man ta. So kami, ang among questions mo depend pud kung unsa iyang gidala nga dokumento. So what you give to me, that's what I examine also. So ang akong questions nimo is magdepend kung unsa gid ako nakitaan. Like kung how long ka mag-travel dito. And syempre kung kay bawo baka kanusa ka mo balik.
Okay.
Inana ka daw. Actually is the basic questions ra gyud.
And you know what I like, Miss Kat, no, is because you said that what we want to ensure here as a Bureau of Immigration
Yes.
officer ikaw is the safety
Yes.
of our Filipino people. Example no nga mo leave siya sa country dili tungod kay unsa pa man kahan ang mga purpose, but I like how you said nga the primary reason why you're doing that primary inspection is to ensure the safety.
Yes.
Kay nga no I think murag importante gid kay na kay daghan biya gid kayong mga schemes.
Exactly.
I think which we can talk about even human trafficking later on,
Yes.
right? And we have that law which is RA 9208 which protects our Filipinos from possible violations of the human trafficking law. And even we have the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipino Act which also intends to protect our Filipino against any mga illegal
Forms of
recruitment or
trafficking,
other
yes.
forms of trafficking. So, nindot ka ito siya nga emphasis. And perhaps you also said, Ms. Kat, no, about basic questions. Para lang na idea ang atong mga televiewers kung unsa man day ni nga mga basic questions. Although you said, no, nga, depende sa dokumento nga i-present.
Yes.
Can we also perhaps mention sa mga document? For example, no, for travel.
Yes.
Filipino
Traveling abroad.
for tourists going to, let's say, Taiwan. No, Taiwan currently does not require visas.
Actually, it does, attorney.
Okay.
Pero pwede na mo siya ma-apply electronically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then naamang good mandate ang Taiwan. I don't know lang kung sa Taiwan depende man pod because since the pandemic kung unsa ilang gi-change sa ilang rules, no. Pero naamang good before nga for example, wala ka na apply sa ilang visa. But then mo coordinate ka sa Taiwan, you can use actually your other existing visas like the US. Nga pwede nimo gamiton nga mo na ilang gamiton nga entry to go there. Pero dapat imo na siyang i-coordinate sa Taiwan. They issue the visa given that you have an existing US visa or Japan visa nga valid.
Is the electronic application of visa, is it just recent or even
Taud-taud na actually.
even
Taiwan.
for the pandemic?
Yes.
Would you know other countries, Ms. Kat, nga nag-require a visa wherein can be applied electronically just in case lang aside from Taiwan?
Recently lang ang Korea is nag-issue sila og visa nga dili na gyud naka-stick on sa imong passport. So Korea right now naa sila paper na sad gyud.
Okay.
I-print out nga ang visa grant is kanang dili gyud ingon dapat nakapilit sa passport ang visa. Like Australia, ang Australia dili man kinahanglan nga paper ilang visa, na print out gyud. Print out, yes.
Wow, that's very strict. No,
Diba?
I mean, especially now ba nga kanang lesser kanang footprints or whatever, no?
Tinood, yes.
And digital mode of documents are also accepted by unta, no? They
Tinood.
are equivalent of the printed documents. But anyway, Miss Kat, mo pa gani pagsugod sa atong programa and yet daghan na kay tag nahisgutan. I believe daghan na tag na-impart nga information sa atong mga televiewers. But let's continue after our short break. Welcome back to the Cebu Lady Lawyers Association's Partners in Law. Kauban gihapon nato ang atong higala nga usa ka immigration officer from the Bureau of Immigration, Mactan Cebu International Airport, Miss Kat. Ganina atong nahisgutan na unsa ang mga trabaho sa ilang opisina, unsa man din ang function sa Bureau of Immigration. Karon gusto nato hisgutan ngano man nga ang mga kasagaran nga Pilipino nga mo travel abroad makuyawan basta makadungog na og immigration. Let's try to know more about the issues and challenges that our Bureau of Immigration office is facing. Miss Kat, unsa
Okay.
man?
Attorney, well, ang isa gid sa mga challenges is ang perception yun, like perception management, let's just say say it that way. Kay ang pasahero, labi na kung first time traveler, mag-think nga kung makadungog lang og immigration, makuyawan bitaw. Murag dili actually dapat kay kung unsa ang akong pangutanan nimo sa counter, syempre like what I said, mag-base ko sa unsa imong gihatag nako. So kung ipakita ko nimo og COE, or Certificate of Employment nga diri ka trabaho, mangutana lang ko kung anang dugay na ba ka diri, kung kibaw ko kung kibaw gid ka sa imong trabaho. Let's just say for example, ba inana. So kanang dili gid ingon nga nag-push ko nimo og storya og something nga wa ka kahibaw. Nangutana ra gyud ko nimo kung unsa sa imong gistorya nako.
But I think that's really a common issue, and I would say the most popular one nga challenge ninyo sa iyong opisina, because as you've said, perception. Ang pagtuo manggod sa tao is ang Bureau of Immigration mahadlok sa inyo ha kay di ko makalarga ani kay grabe kay ilang mga pangutana, when in fact as you've said and emphasized ganina, those are just basic questions in relation to the documents presented. So for example, no, purpose of traveling is just for tourist visa lang kay or tourist lang kay mulaag baron sa Taiwan. Ato na lang ng panindigan ang Taiwan ato nga example. Mulaag lang. So, syempre, mulaag ka, the presumption is maka-afford ka sa imuhang paglaag kay mulaagod ka. So, that's why ang mga documents nga i-present nato as a traveler would include Certificate of Employment to prove nga natay income din sa Pilipinas. Sakto ba ko?
Actually, supporting document na gina-attorney.
Okay.
Yes, kay ang basic good actually nga requirement is kung let's say tourist ka going abroad, so imuhang passport, syempre, and visa nimo if visa required ang country nga imong adtuan, imuhang return ticket kung nga mobalik gid ka sa Pilipinas, and then ang imong accommodation didto. If you are staying in a hotel or you're staying with a relative, ingon ana. And then, kung unsa mo na siya, imong ipakita. Pero right now, since nag-pandemic, katong pag-start gid sa pandemic, ang IATF manggod, they release a resolution nga dapat ang Filipino going out must secure a travel and health insurance.
Oh.
Yes. So, kanang kung turista ka. Pero if you're a resident abroad or OFW ka, going back ka sa country nga imong trabahoan, dili kinahanglan. That only applies kung ikaw Pilipino ka nga mag-tourist abroad. Yes. Kay actually it's very important sa dato ni kasabot sad mi because wabi ta kay bawa unsa ka didto. Let's say health-wise lang gyud inana. And there are gyud certain passengers when they come back, mo ingon gyud sila actually na mo nga nagamit gyud nako nga akong gibook nga insurance.
That's recently, Ms.
Since
Kat.
nag-pandemic.
Oh, thank you so much for confirming, Attorney Kat, no, and also highlighting this additional requirement from your office nga need na nato i-present.
Yes.
Health and
Travel and health insurance.
Travel and health insurance. But I would say, Ms. Kat, I think that's quite expensive.
Actually, depende sa insurance company. Kaya I think karon kay kibaw sila nga, you know, there's an ongoing kanang requirement. So I think ilasan gi kana bitang mo level sad sila kung unsay affordable sa pasahero. Kay mo depend man sad kung how long ka magstay abroad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you also accredit?
No, dili gyud.
So no requirements kung kinsa nga mga
Specific insurance
companies.
No.
But that's also with Insurance Commission, I believe, no? Sila na
na. Yes.
mga trabaho nga mo insure nga accredited nga insurance. Pero that's quite critical also.
Yes.
Because I think I would say nga importante gid ni even before the pandemic.
Yes.
This is not very popular, no? Nga ang mga travelers mo kuha o health and travel insurance, but I would say it's very important. Kay daghan man sa dog benefits and travel and health insurance, and there were already, we've heard of news in the past nga nay mga mo travel abroad unya madisgrasya.
Yes.
And that's part of the risk.
Tinuod
diba?
yun.
So
Yes.
especially if first time niyo sa isa ka lugar, wa gyud ka kahibawon
Di
sa
ka makabaw sa may tabo.
Precisely. So it's only important.
Yes. And right now, wa pa mo siya na lift sa IATF. Wa pa siya na-remove kay since ongoing babaya gid ang pandemic. Though we have opened up our borders, so gi-require man gihapon siya. Sometimes magud attorney makalimot ang pasahero nga kay tungod focus bitaw kayo sila nga sa ilang country nga padulngan. Sometimes makalimot sila nga ang Philippines nga kung asa sila gikan nag-require sad og certain documents. Yes, kay usahay mo na among one of their challenges at the airport kay when they get to immigration, masuko usahay ang pasahero kay wa siya kahibaw nga kinahanglan insurance. Pero actually naamo gid sa mandate if we only read ba. Ingon ana. Kay sometimes makalimot sa daog tanaw or read thoroughly inana bitaw. So
Bitaw. I think that's also
responsibility na gid sa pasahero.
Murag dili gid aware ang mga tao
Yes.
ana. So thank you so much for this opportunity, Miss Kat, na
Yes.
imo gid nang gipahibalo sa atong mga televiewers. And this travel and health insurance requirement is both for traveling outside the Philippines and going outside and going in.
Actually, requirement na lang siya, attorney, for the Filipinos going out for
Okay.
tourism. Kay gilift na sa IATF before, when the pandemic started, nag-require gid ang Philippines og insurance for tourists coming in. For foreigners ba, foreign nationals coming in. But since katong ease up na atong borders, gi-lift na sa IATF ang requirement nga dapat naa sa insurance ang foreign nationals coming in.
But kanang requirements sa health insurance and travel insurance kay for Filipinos only.
Yes, for
traveling
Philippines,
outside.
abroad, yes.
Traveling abroad. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. And so we've talked about these two issues already. Miss Kat, no, perception and kani nga requirement
Yes.
nga dili aware atong mga travelers.
Yes.
Any other issues siguro, challenges?
Siguro one of the issues siguro kay kanang moreklamo ang long queues at the airport. Yes, pero actually kung ikaw traveler ka, attorney, sayo. Dapat mo sayo gid ka sa airport kay dili magud usa ang flight ba. So and then dita kahibaw kung pila ang load for the flight for that day. Ingon ana. So maximum minimum siguro 3 hours before your flight. Siguro minimum lang.
Yes,
di
yes,
ba?
I would say.
Para naka enough time maka-prepare pa ka. Makakaon basag ka. Ingon ana.
But would you say that you have sufficient immigration officers in duty to
Yes, we have
cater?
bansad. Oo.
Okay.
Pero though night times lang sa gyud, syempre di ka kaingon na agi mo maka-absent
Okay.
because of like certain issues sa ilang balay
Okay.
sa siguro and health inana kanang as much as possible na ay uban nga mo extend na lang sa gyud kay para ma-cater ginawa ang flights.
Okay.
Yes.
So, pero kana murag gabay naman lang responsibility. Again, it's
Yes.
another responsibility sa atong mga traveler. And so far maura ba na atong mga issues, Miss Kat, or napakailaing mahunahunaan nga mga problema?
So far maura man siguro na ato mga general gyud nga issues nga basic.
That's good.
Yes,
That's
for
good.
travelers.
And any mga initiatives or programs ang atong gibuhat to address those problems siguro? Like kaning long queue wala ba yung electronic
Exactly. Actually, it's good nga i-open up about it
Okay.
ba? Because one of the kanang programs sa government is nag-provide gid og electronic gates. But this program was done before pa the pandemic.
Okay.
So, as in nakatabang yun siya sa atong long queues because the electronic gates lang hinuon, it caters to Philippine passport holders. So, upon arrival.
Okay.
So, inig-arrive man good, so dili na hinuon maghuot ang Pilipino ug ang foreign nationals sa counters because Filipinos pasudlon man gid nato.
Automatic.
So didto gid sila, pwede ra gid sila nga mobalhin didto sa electronic
Electronic
gates
gate.
because all you need is your passport and naman sa instruction how to do it. Yes, and then after nimo ma-process imong passport, the gates takes a picture of you and then nakay kanang arrival sticker. Yes, which kana di ay atong ipapilit sa atong passport. Yes. Yes.
I think I've tried that before the pandemic, international travel ko sa pagbalik na ako
Electronic
naka-avail
gates
ko
na.
anang electronic. So pero can you tell us, Miss Kat, unsa man di ay before this electronic gate, what were the usual things that you do man di sa immigration for Filipinos coming in?
For Filipinos actually coming back, kanang luag-luag magita sa Filipinos coming back because kanang resident magid sila dire. Yes, pero before magod sa atong counters, attorney, na counters for foreign passports, nasa counters for Filipino passports. So given gid na nga kung ikaw foreign Philippine passport ka, upon entry paspas gid inyong lane.
Okay.
Yes, kay Filipino raman. Yes, whereas kung foreign nationals upon entry, mo assess man gid ta thoroughly. Yes. So kana mag-expect gyud ta nga kanang kung nilininyata sa foreign nga passport dili gid as fast as sa other sa lane nga paspas.
But I would like to laud that initiative or program nga gihimo nato
Yes.
because that is part of innovation at least na modernization,
Tinuod.
di ba?
Somehow,
Mo level up,
naagid.
di ba? Mo level up pud ta. Pero at the same time, more importantly, at least to ease
Yes.
No, it's a ease for our Filipinos coming back to the Philippines and also to the Bureau of Immigration Office. Nga,
Tinood.
kung gamay-gamay na lang ang trabaho at least.
Tinood, attorney.
Diba? Any other program siguro sa opisina nato mga initiatives like karon no very napata sa pandemic, would you say, Ms. Kat, that we are ready to respond to mga inani nga mga problems or mga crisis, no, like pandemic unsa man atong mga protocols?
Kung inani lang gyud attorney sa crisis gyud, nakalitan gyud ang tanan. Yes. And on top of that, katong dili lang ang duration sa pandemic, which wa panahon man, niabot pa gyud ang that time. Remember pag Odette, Typhoon Odette, that was very hard gyud. Kay kanang syempre sa atong mga balay lain nain ta og struggles nga gi-go through.
Tama.
But then the airport closed for a few days and pero ni-resume gid ang flights after a few days. Kay we had to continue man gyud. So kami, which ang good thing attorney was ang airport, ang nag-manage sa airport is GMR, ni-provide gid sila og kami nga officers na gi-provide nga rooms nga makastay mi sa airport. And especially water was such a big thing.
Yes,
So
yes.
ang airport kinabi gyud water.
Okay.
Yes, so it was good nga didto mi makaligo. Yes, and then pwede sa mi matulog.
Okay.
Yes, para di na lang gid mohawa. Kay
Yeah.
travel was hard, sad.
I agree, and in fact, the role of the airports was very critical because daghan mi atong mga
Exactly.
donations,
Tinuod
ang
yun.
mga responses, emergency responses, mga help nga nadawat nato. So daghan nga mga flights, not just international but even locally.
Yes,
no, mga
yes,
help ikan sa
affected
Manila. So importante kayong trabaho.
Sa airport yan, attorney.
Diba? And as you said, no, you also had to face mga
Yes, your
personal,
own,
no, and
yes.
family you need to help them, but still you were there.
You have
for
to be there.
For the bigger help that you could
Yes.
give to our Filipinos, especially Cebuanos. So
Yes.
lisod yun kayo itong mga
And
panahon
public
na-
service bagay attorney. So kinahanglan mo answer gyud ka sa imong duty.
Asset.
Yes.
Very, very nice. So,
Yes.
katunga time, nag-operate ra gihapon.
Yes.
Oh,
Nag-continue
even
kita-
international travels?
Yes, pero like when the onset gyud sa Odette,
Oo.
like siguro 2 to 3 days or mga 4 days inana. Pero I think less than a week nag-operate na dayon ang airport. Kay syempre nabi ato sa day gyud nga nag-typhoon, naa gyud baya ang flights ang na-cancel. So kinahanglan kanisan nga mga pasahero, they have to go back kung asa gyud sila
Precisely.
gikan.
That's true.
And luis ang airlines kay press gyud sila sa pasahero kung kanus aman makabalik among flight.
Bitaw.
Yeah, and then we can't function kung wala sa go signal sa babaw. So, 'di ba?
Yeah, sad.
Kay
Yeah,
dili
sad.
Rabia Immigration ang maghandle ang airline sad, ang yes, ang everybody good.
But it's really very good to know nga your office was able to handle that crisis very well. So, daghang salamat po sa inyong tabang, Ms.
Lagi.
Kat, because you were also coordinating with friends outside Cebu on how they could help.
Yes.
And you were trying to reach the airport kung padayon ang mga travel. In fact, there were mga certain special flights nga gipang accommodate just to receive
Yes.
mga help dinhi sa atong mga kapwa Cebuanos.
Cargo flights actually.
Oo,
Yeah,
oo,
kay
that's right.
mutabang sa gibang other countries. So
That's
kana
right.
cater sa gyud sa immigration.
By the way, Ms. Katno, if I may ask, ang kanigong Bureau of Immigration, naapod ba tayo since we have international airports, apil bagyod ang mga seaports, ani? But I think before you answer that question, let's have a quick break first for our program sponsors. Welcome back to the Cebu Lady Lawyers Association's Partners in Law. Daghan na tag nahisgutan nga mga impormasyon kabahin sa opisina sa Bureau of Immigration nga dako nga makatabang og dako sa ato ang mga travelers, especially Filipinos who are going abroad either for tourist or as a tourist or even for work. Now, nangutan na ta ganina ni Ms. Kat, no, about seaports if covered ba ni sa Bureau of Immigration. Atong pangutanan si Ms. Kat og maminaw ta sa iyang tubag.
Kami attorney is specifically nagid mi sa airport. So naay set of officers sad nga lahi dili kami nga actually ilang offices na sa main office sa Manila, na atay base service, nasa base service nga naasad sa district office diri sa Cebu which is nasa J Center.
Yeah,
ya
so
kana-
we have another offices pod.
naatay district office. One is in J Center Mall where the foreign nationals can do their extensions there. Yes, and pwede sad sila mo-apply og, for example, mo-apply sila for certain immigrant and non-immigrant visas. Like, work sila diri, pwede sila mo try process din ha, pero i-forward gyapon na sa Manila.
Can you
Yes.
tell us, Miss Kat, unsa man daay ni ang difference aning immigrant, non-immigrant, ug unsa pa na nga mga visa? Unsa pa ang pwede i-apply din he?
Diri, attorney, pwede ka mo apply kung student.
Okay.
Yes, foreign nationals nga intending to study here.
Okay.
So dili lang pwede nga sige lang tag turista ang status. So
Okay.
apply gid na kay let's say students nga nagtake up og med. Yes, daghan kay na sila or flying course. Yes. So naasad tay those are non-immigrant visas man. Okay. Naasad tay kanang workers.
Okay.
Kanang mo work dire for a certain company, so applyan magina sila og kanang visa sa ilang company para legit ilang stay sa Philippines.
Question, Miss Kat, is it possible that ang mo ari diri sa Pilipinas at first is just without visa? Kay
Yes.
I believe we allow certain nationalities from specific countries which can enter the Philippines for a certain period of days who can avail of visa-free
Yes.
entry, right?
Yes.
So is it possible that when they come in the Philippines, we're talking about foreigners coming into the Philippines visa-free, but later on they will apply for a visa?
Naagi na attorney.
Okay.
Kay naaman tay certain kay especially when they come in, syempre ilang status is turista pa. And then that's when they process na their companies sent ipada sila diri and then applyan sila og visa nga ongoing gihapon. I mean ongoing ang ilang application, so maghuwat sila nga mga grant ilang visa. Pero na sila diri.
Very interesting.
Convert lang bitaw. Yes.
And is it possible, Miss Kat, nga upon entry kay visa-free pa, and then later on, let's say mo apply o work visa, and then during the period of stay, let's say allowed under EO 408,
Yes.
30 days visa-free here in the Philippines, mahuman na ang 30 days, let's say, wala pa na-approve ang work visa. Can that foreigner stay here longer?
Then the 30 days?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Actually, maka-extend lang yun sila, attorney.
Okay.
Yes, kay actually naman sa pending application for their, let's say, the work visa specifically. So, pending man ang application. So, while wala pa to na grant, ang ilang company nga apply for them is namagin na sila yung mga liaisons. So, kana sila, suguon gyapon para i-extend sad, i-update ang ilang status here. So, when you are here on tourist visa lang, let's say, visa-free nga
Visa-free,
program,
yes.
you just extend. So magsige lang sila update until magawas to ang ilang visa nga gi-apply. Yes.
So, kaning extension, Miss Kat, ba, wala, unlimited ni siya? Walay until 3 extensions only?
Actually, attorney, inigsulod nimo, kung example, you're entering under the EO 408 nga visa-free, kana mo ang countries nga kana silang under there are roughly around 157 countries under anang EO 408. So when you enter visa free ka, kanang you can keep on extending. For example, namo koy uban ay families diri. Yes, but eventually mo leave gyapon sila kasi they have to go back to work abroad. Yeah, those foreign nationals actually maka-extend sila up to 3 years. Yes, but after the 3-year period, they have to nagi sila order to leave. So that's why they go out and then after some time they come back again. Okay, after 3 years, for example, under ka sa EO 408 ha, you're allowed to stay for like kana magud sila attorney kana under sa EO 408 kana sila nga countries is non-visa required entering the Philippines. Yes. So let's say US for example, they enter here so maka-extend ka up to 3 years. Yes.
And the reason we have this EO 408 could be because we have treaties or agreements with
Yes.
these certain
The
countries,
countries,
right?
yes.
I think that's part of international committee also. So when you say the 3-year period, number one, it doesn't matter kung how many extensions as long as it's a 3-year period
As long as it is updated.
and it's updated.
Yes.
And at the same time, after 3 years, it's a mandatory order
Yeah, nga
for
mo
you to
leave
leave
yun
the
sila.
country.
Yes.
Oh, and
But it doesn't mean that they can come back, ha? Because they can come back, yun. Oo.
Okay. But is there a certain penalty if in case after the 3-year period di siya mo leave sa Philippines?
Actually, padung na kita na sa deportation attorney. Pero another office handles that. Kay for the
Okay.
deportation man, so a lot of papers have to be filed. Kay kinahanglan mo gid siya pahawaon. Yeah.
And this deportation proceeding, is it initiated by the office or there must be a complaint or a letter reporting that foreigner for overstaying here in the Philippines?
Kung overstaying ka attorney, given yun na nga you have to leave yun.
And then if dili, kay wala man, I mean, Do you monitor constantly in the office?
As much as we want to monitor yun me.
Okay.
Na a different office under the Bureau of Immigration does that gihapon. So
okay.
naatay mga intel. Yes, yes.
But you also accept mga reports from, no?
Yes, pero ang usually attorney ang reports is gusto dito gina sa main office.
Main office, which
yeah,
is in
and it's
Manila.
cascade bang gina. Yes. Yes, pero depende sad kung example wala gid siya nabot og 3-year period pero na certain complaints and then gi-receive sa Manila and then na order so somebody has to get the pasahero gyud na i-assist gina nila actually upon exit.
Okay,
Yeah.
but there are no criminal violations for that. Dili mapriso for overstaying.
Depende sad kung unsa ang kaso.
Ay, okay.
Yes.
So it's really
Kay
possible.
ang immigration nam sa tay detention. Yes, yes. Naam gyud kay naam gyud for example na ay foreign national diri
Oo.
nga gipangita pod sa iyahang country. Let's say
okay.
Korea.
Yes.
Nya nasli gipangita nga fugitive. Let's just say inana. So kung
Wow.
ma-alert ta kani nga Koreano gipangita di ay sa Korea niya mo attempt to going out to the Philippines so mo alert sa among system so amoy inform ang Korean police inana ba.
Okay. What if Miss Kat kanang mga foreigners no who commit certain violations here in the Philippines posible po nga mudawat ang aside from the criminal cases filed no in court for
Yes.
those cases, do you also accept mga complaints nga i-report na ang certain foreigner for mao lagi ni na ay violation sa atong Philippine laws ingon ana mudawat mo og mga complaint dito sa main office?
Sa main office attorney.
And then it is possible that upon let's say investigation it is found lagi nga naagi violation
Yes.
although wala pa ay conviction from the court nga inyo i-deport.
Depende gid sa ilang process attorney.
Okay.
Yes, kay mo matter man sad ang pag-file nila sa case. And then kung unsa, syempre ila gyud i-assess ang legal basis and sa complaint, di ba?
Okay. But in terms of sanctions, Miss Kat, unsa man ang mga sanction nga pwede buhaton sa atong opisina sa Bureau of Immigration as far as you know?
Kung sa airport lang attorney, ang amo ara gyud is kanang dili gyud na mo palargahon kung let's say naa siya hit sa among system. O okay na amang when dili man basta-basta nga for example ang foreign national mularga kami nakafilang may kintahay dili man pwede. So dapat it has to be documented. So pag file og case ana dapat sa Manila ginagi-file and then nabutang gina sa among system para ma-alert me. Kay it has to be on our system man nga kani siya is guilty for a certain kuan for a
Like
certain
criminal conviction, so di pwede makalarga, kaya he has to serve the
o
sentence.
among i-turn over to a certain to a certain office. Inana.
Wow.
Dili
that's
pwede nga
really-
kami good on the spot ang mo
Okay.
arrest or we don't do that.
Okay,
Yes.
so you have to follow procedures
Yes, may
like
protocol.
na as order from the
Yes.
main office nga there was already a
Yes.
finding nga kanimo ni ang certain.
And maghuwat sa mi attorney kung unsang instruction kung i-hold ba namo ang pasahero or i-turn over namo dayon sa kinsa nga department ang mokuha.
Oh, that's
Yes,
tough.
diba?
So you also have certain mga officers nga kanang murag, let's say somehow more po police officers ang trabaho ba nga mo arrest or whatever, or you really call our police officers to do the arrest if ever.
There are certain times manggod attorney nga for example ang hit naagi suwat didto nga naay warrant.
Oo.
Yes, let's say na Filipino abroad.
Oo,
Pero when they left, okay pa sila. Ilang status here.
yes.
But then somebody filed a complaint and then na guilty na. Pero they're abroad pa baya.
Yes,
So when
yes.
they arrive, muhit sa system nga naay warrant. So that's when we process gid namo, i-hold na sa namang pasahero for a while and then we turn over, especially kung naay warrant, that's when you turn over to BNP. Yes.
So we're talking here about going out and
Coming in. Yes.
because you said nga example kung naay order nga dili palargahon so
Yes.
i-hold yun ninyo, that's when you will use the detention centers. Do we have one in Cebu?
Before sa Cebu actually ang old office pero karon wag nasa Manila. That's why among i-transport gid ang pasahero. Kuyugan gid na.
Who?
Yes.
Sa isa ka immigration officer?
Naay ka nang from the Intel. Na may Intel nga unit nga mo
Okay.
assist kay dapat ma-turn over sa sila sa Manila.
And same goes with kanilang coming in nga na
Yeah.
hit sa inyong system nga also a person of unsa ba na ay mga conviction and not allowed to enter here.
Pero depende ra sa attorney kung like ang case nga ni hit sa system is dapat gyud ka i-arrest. Kay kung dili arrested, we want to hold you man. Ang amo alang is di ka palargahon unless na kay let's say you have a whole departure order, di ba? So makalarga ka kung na kay allow departure order. Yes. So gigrant namang gipasahero attorney nga like maski ongoing ilang case, grantan sila sa court o i-allow sila mo depart for a certain period but then given you're coming back.
All right. So we have this whole departure order, and at the same time a separate order, subsequent
allowing.
order allowing
Yes.
nga murag somehow gi-override to ang whole departure order. Pero
Ano, kay
it's
case,
quite challenging, no? Tough siya in terms of monitoring. Kay let's just say makalarga na kay we have the subsequent nga order allowing that individual to fly. Ang problema na tuhan ang pagbalik because we're no longer in control. The question is really if that person will come back, di ba? It's quite of course I'm
Yes.
saying it's not part of your job already. Kaya again, it's no longer it's already outside our jurisdiction. But I believe we must have, agreements with certain countries nga which will take care of it nga in case madili siya mo uli.
Yeah.
After a certain period. Anyway, kita naman ang mo communicate ana with the country,
Yeah.
like our embassies, to report this individual nga, oy, paano nakabalik og Pilipinas. And then, any office na dito, depending on how strong ang ilang pangitaan ng tawhana, then pag ma-arrest, then pabalikon
Yes.
sa Pilipinas.
Actually,
Pero, I think, daghan, would you know, Miss Kat, kay uso man yun no? Daghan man tag mga kapwa Pilipino nga wala diri sa Pilipinas no, or abroad. And then, especially sa reach, sa kadako sa reach sa mga social media platforms. Unya, mga uso-uso ang mga away, kani mga cyber libel,
Yes.
no, which is very popular.
Tinuod.
And then, ang mga ilahang mga tao nga nasadaan diri, ganahan mangiha. And then, syempre, as a lawyer mo ingon pud mi nga ma'am wa gyud tay mahimuan na pagkakaroon kay wala na
Siya
diri
sa Pilipinas,
diba?
yes.
Pero is it safe to say nga moingon ang usa ka abogado nga don't worry if na-file na ang kaso and then there's a a warrant of arrest and then i-inform ang Bureau of Immigration, sakto ba?
Actually, mao gina important attorney. Kay sometimes kung na-file ang case wala bitaw na forward sa immigration nga office. That's why dili mo hit ang pasahero. Let's say na siya ongoing a case, no? Unya ang papers wala na forward sa immigration. So sa Manila gina actually kay para ma-encode na sa among system.
Hala, I think this is a very useful information as well for our
Yes,
lawyers this time.
yes.
No? Nga, unsa ang proseso.
Yes.
So, dito na sa main office,
Yes,
namatay,
i-forward na
pwede
dito.
ra ba electronic ang pag-inform or it has to be mailed yun ang
I think it
documents?
has to be like nagi mo adto attorney. Yes, I think
Ay!
mas better if nagi mo adto.
Sa Manila office, sa
Yes, kay
immigration?
sometimes mas better nga moadto gid sila. Kay nagid sila adton kay para personal man gyud nila nga ma-process ang papers.
Asa di atong opisina di ay?
Nasa Magallanes Drive, nasa Intramuros. Naa na diha ang main office sa immigration.
But is it possible for us to coordinate with the Mactan Airport? Para duol-duol na lang ya kamo ang mo forward dito sa main office unsa may paagi?
Actually dito sa legal division gina attorney.
Which is in Manila.
Sa Manila. Yes.
Even the district office in JY.
J Center.
J Center in Mandaue.
I think sa J Center is they accept lang yun kana mga visa extensions and the application for visas pero the bigger unsa gyud naagid sa main office tanan.
I think that's
Yes.
our
Actually, struggle na.
Oo.
Kaya hopefully kanang mas paspas ba everything pero we have to report there. So
Lagi. And more expensive na sad. Kaya we
Tinood.
have to pay for
Yes.
airline. As a lawyer, niya appearance fee na sad. Anto din to. Another expense for the client, no? But hopefully, Miss Kat, if there is a way for you to relate it, to relay it to your office,
Yes,
no? Nga
yes.
hopefully we can create a program wherein things can be emailed kanang pwede mo na to i-attach ang mga document, i-scan
sa
lang.
government
no?
attorney, hopefully,
Sige
mas
lang.
more on electronic na sa siguro ta, hopefully, di ba?
Ito.
Kay
To be honest, it's
paper
really
gid kaayo ta,
expensive.
Basta, tinood.
And
Ang budget
lagi
sa
nga, ang
government.
pag-compile na sad sa document, how can we ensure nga makip siya wata kay ba? So hopefully ka na usa sa mga
Yes.
initiatives.
And nasa ko isa ka point attorney regarding that kay for example na ay case and then na okay na.
okay.
Sibi, let's say ang pasahero is this certain passenger is na okay na iyang case. So he can leave na. But then napa siya whole departure and then na okay na ang case. Dapat attorney i-forward sa gyud sa main office nga na okay na iyang case. Nga yes.
Kay posible di siya kalarga.
Di siya kalarga kay tungod wala na forward but then okay na di ay. Kay sometimes nagi mga pasahero nga magdagyod sa decision sa court.
Oh.
Yes. Kay ang sad part is dili na mo maglisod ni upalarga gyud maski na nanay decision nga okay na siya kay wala man na forwards, hit man siya sa system. So we cannot override that on the spot nga na okay ni. We cannot encode nga
Okay.
matanggal to siya. So that has to be removed good sa main office.
So somehow you have a portal or a system in the Bureau of Immigration wherein you can monitor no kanyang mga certain individuals laging ano na ay
And
mga
derogatory records, yes.
okay, very interesting. Luoy pud ba ang pasahero ba nga sus excited na kay makalarga ang ticket na ana, and it's not easy for you to
Tinood,
just call
tinood.
the main office and verify nga kaning certain individual sakto man niya mga documents nga present, because already in your at the onset as an immigration officer you already make a decision. Very critical role.
Pero mo gina-attorney ang diha gid mo sud ang importance sa burden of proof nga nagit sa pasahero. So dapat before you travel, make sure nga everything is fixed good. Kay lisod sad gid kayo, we feel bias sad good for the passenger.
Ito.
Kay syempre attorney kanang maski immigration, di man gid mo goal na i-hold ang pasahero. Syempre gusto gid mo travel sad. Kaso di gid mo sad ang balaod ba. Yes, kay
That's
di man
right.
sa gid na mo kami na magbuot-buot. Yeah.
And I think quickly lang, we mentioned about primary inspection earlier, and is there a way nga kanalagi no secondary inspection to verify the initial somehow to
Further
re-inspect
assessment, yes.
the documents presented?
There is a secondary inspection yun, attorney. Kay once the primary officer cannot decide yun, kanang syempre mag-consider sad me kung how long na ang line sa loyo. So we can't hold the passenger at the counter nga dugay kaayo. Kaya as much as you want to assess yun diha tanan, kanang pwede na nimo siya i-go sa secondary inspection. So sila gid ang mo na i-allocate og enough time para i-assess gid ang pasahero.
Which is not anymore in the same
At the counter,
line.
yes.
At the counter.
We make you sit in a different area nga dito mo mag-conduct og secondary interview.
But I think, Ms. Kat, no, daghan kitag hisgutan and daghan pa kitag nindot nga pwede hisgutan. But I think we have highlighted enough
Yes.
that the Bureau of Immigration, dili mo gusto nga i-bar
Yes.
ang traveler
Yes.
as much as possible. Thank you so much for emphasizing it. Gusto mo nga mo travel ang usa ka traveler, pero it's just that you want to ensure ilang safety,
Exactly.
ilang security, and at the same time protection pod sa
Yes.
mga nahabilin diri
Yes.
sa mga Filipinos,
Yes, exactly.
diba? And I think since as much as we don't want to let you go, Ms. Kat, perhaps naalang kay last message nga mahatag sa ato mga televiewers just before we end this program tonight.
Yes, actually important kaayo kung mularga ta, relax lang yun ta. First of all, attorney, come on time and relax para kung na may pangayoon nimo nga documents nga wala nimo dala, pero you can secure it like online through your office, napaka ample time to get that without really leaving the airport. Kaya somebody will email it to you. Inana ba kay supporting documents man sa danimo just in case it will be asked. And then important sa nga dito makalimot nga as travelers mag-consider ta nga before leaving nasa day mandato diri sa Pilipinas nga atong sundon. Sometimes we're so focused ba on the country that we're going nga ilang requirements that we forgot nga ang Philippines napoy requirements for us Filipinos before leaving the country. Yes.
Thank you so much for those helpful tips that you gave to our televiewers and travelers. Ms. Kat, dako kayo nga tabang sa ilahan, especially sa mga impormasyon nga imong gihatag karon. And since you were focused on giving tips for our travelers going outside the country or traveling abroad, perhaps ang ako lang pong masulti no is those especially foreigners who are coming in our country, that when they are traveling here in the Philippines, while we are open and we welcome here, we have to be mindful that
Yes.
we have to obey the laws of our country as well. There are ordinances, orders, issuances that we have to respect. And more importantly, we have to maintain the security and safety of our fellow Filipinos, and especially observing peace and order.
Exactly.
Kaya there are instances when we feel so confident na and comfortable sa Pilipinas to the extent nga it's very easy for us to violate laws and even cause disturbances sa atong mga kapwa Pilipino
Pilipino.
dito. So hopefully ang atong discussion tonight nakatabang sa atong mga televiewers. And this program can be seen via our CCTN channel 47 every Wednesday at 9 p.m. and there's a replay on Thursday at 3:30. At the same time, we have a Facebook account sa CCTN o makita ni ang live on Wednesday. And if you want to follow and subscribe also our YouTube account for Celia, it is Celia-Partners-in-Law. Makakita ta og more videos sa atong programa diri sa Partners-in-Law wherein naghisgota og mga daghan nga mga balaod ug mga importanteng issues sa katilingban. To our televiewers, daghang salamat sa pag-join namo kada gabi Wednesday night dinhi sa CCTN Partners-in-Law. And especially, I would like to thank our guest for this evening, Miss Katrina Jean. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you sa gayo, attorney, kay syempre outlet sa dinamo nga syempre maka-impart sa mig information sa atong mga pasahero, labi na sa mga first-time travelers. So
Yes.
this is a big thing yun, Sen.
Thank you so much, especially to our mga staff din sa CCTN. Daghan kayong salamat ninyo, and to Tatay Dodong Limchua for giving us this time here in Partners-in-Law. And I'd like to thank as well our president in Cebu Lady Lawyers Association, Attorney Margarita Yu. And I'd like to say hi di ay sa akong mga kauban sa opisina sa Dumdum Ligorio Di Parini Law Firm, Bern, Alwin, Jack, Attorney Sid, Attorney Paul, and Attorney Yenny. Hi ninyo, and to all my friends. Basing nasa kay i-greet na friends.
Okay na ako, friends.
Thank you so much. Once again, this is Attorney Genevieve Cabradilla. Have a good evening.